He's put a lot of different stuff in there that I didn't know about. He was working on it while I was at work, so I didn't even know about some of that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I tell you a story about my cousin. I tell you a story about my cousin in the Air Force Base in Indian Mountains.
Yeah.
He was younger. I'll tell you about it.
Without bacon on it. You're fine, I'll just hold it so that if we do bump into it, it ain't going nowhere. Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to be showing the light orbs now that has been over
He can take whatever he needs to out.
Mount Lemmon all summer, last summer. And I filmed them in night vision because when you're seeing them like with the naked eye, it's like just little lights, right? Sometimes they get real big, you'll see it in the film. But with the night vision, holy cow, man, you see a better vision of it, a clearer vision. And they were coming in at different times. So in May, they were here at 12, and as the summer progressed, different months they'd be coming like 12, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4. So by the time they hit October, they're completely on the east side. And they were here for an hour. Each sighting, every night, they were there for an hour. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased to present the Apulianos, the light beings.
Okay, we're going to make a greeting to the cosmos. The light beings.
Super neat. Like I didn't believe you when you said how often they would come out, and it was just like every minute, like it was like a new cycle of new orbs is coming, and then they would get all bright in the same area, and then they would just float on by.
Yeah, right over that same area. So it's like they're drawing energy
or something, yeah.
There's got to be some kind of energy source there. So, man, that's great. I'm so glad you got to see him. It was cool shooting lasers at him, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, Puliano. Yeah, the light beings.
Wow. Look at it hit! Oh! Dang, that was cool. I There's one right there that's the bright one right behind it. They got really bright.
Here comes another one. You should be able to see this one too soon. Look at that. That is some great footage.
Yeah, Puliano. Yeah, the light beings. Yeah, Puliano. The light beings. Diapuliano. The light beings. Diapuliano. The light beings. Diapuliano. The light beings. Yapunian, the light beings.
So, do you think that they were airplanes or anything normal, in your opinion?
No, not at all. I mean, we saw airplanes, so we saw the difference between airplanes and the amber-colored orbs that we saw.
Mm-hmm. And so, would you classify it as, you know, paranormal, UAP, UFO?
Unknown.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So definitely not normal.
Definitely, yeah, not normal.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we had a little mini invasion going on last summer, right? It was crazy. And like I said, it lasted for an hour. So they would show up at 12 and then they would just keep going, you know, for a whole hour. And it was actually Karen that noticed, hey, they're moving these, they're moving. So they would be here like at 12, and then like in May, they'd be here in 12, and then by the time 1 o'clock came around, they moved more east. And Karen was like, oh yeah, they're moving east, so I gotta give credit to her, yeah, they were moving, you know? Yeah, and so I followed them like May, June, July, August. By the time we got to October, they were way over there at 4 o'clock in the morning. Now, we're going to see what these things look like in the daytime. Now, this was filmed outside of Tucson by Allison, excuse me if I pronounce her name wrong, at the Santa Rita Mountains. Right? And look, it's just hovering over that mountain there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is good footage. He sent this to me not long ago, a few months ago. And look how it's just hovering over that mountain. It's hovering over the energy spot. Now I was doing a news report, a news interview on a radio show, and let's stop it here. So, see that circle there? Now let's look at the petroglyph. Wow. The exact same type of thing, right above. This is in South Mountain. And she's like, see, you've got such a knack of seeing these things. I'm like, well, you know what? I know what to look for, and I know where to look for at. And it's always the mountains. So, the history of them. So this is Mount Lemmon. Okay, Mount Lemmon has the history of these lights by the Hohokam Indians. This is carved on Mount Lemmon. And when we get a better look at it, we can actually see the mountains here with all these orbs around it. So this is nothing new. This has always been going on. This has happened before. This is carved on Mount Lemmon. And I like it. I like how they put the stone, they carved the stone around it to make an orb. So they're telling us that the orb is coming out of this stone. And it's glowing. See that there? I like how they did that. You have to have an open mind to understand their art. And they're telling us the orb is coming out of the stone. This is on South Mountain, and they're looking up at light orbs in the sky. And again, South Mountain, and then we have the light orb with the circle in the middle. Tracking the orbs and why Mount Lemmon? Well, it's because of the energy, like I've been saying this whole time. Okay, so this is Tucson, all right, and we're looking towards Mount Lemmon. So I'm using the observatory and the antenna lights as reference points. Okay, so this is where we're looking at now, and they're coming in May from the east. From the west, right? And they're going east. And how do we know that they're not going over the Catalinas? Is because when they're going down on the mountain, they're going down behind the observatory, not in front of the observatory, because we would clearly see them going down. That would be a great shot. You know, if I could catch them in front of the mountain, that'd be awesome. But we never saw that. We always see them going down behind the observatory. This is the cantilevers right here. I was thinking maybe that canyon. So let's look behind Mount Lemmon. Look at this. Look at this. Look at these canyons. Do you see this? These are all cracks. Okay? The Native Americans would call these doorways. Now on South Mountain, I found the exact same type of canyons with spirals carved out. Doorways. And if there's a way to get back here, if anybody knows on how to get back behind Mount Lemmon to see these canyons, please tell me. I've been trying to get back there. I got halfway back there. I'm going to show it to you. But all these areas here is what they're pretty much going over. We're going to show you right. We're going to show you. So this is May 10th at 12 a.m. All right, now look how they're getting bright. See how he's getting bright? Now he's starting to dissipate. He's starting to get dimmer, right? Right in this area here, right? Here comes another one. Okay, now there's the observatory. So we know they're left, this is May, left of the observatory, right? And now he's coming, oh, there's another one, look at that. And they're getting brighter right in this area here. So they come over this certain area, they get bright, and then they dim out. And then more come in, same thing. They get bright in that same area, and then dim out. Here comes another one. Look how he's getting bright. He's now they're both bright at the same time. So right here in this area, that's what they're after. They're going in that same spot and they're getting brighter.
Or are they going away from us?
No, they're coming up. It could be, yeah, they're going away. They're moving away from it. Right. Here's one. He just left the mountain, and he's going behind Mount Lemmon there because the observatory is still over there. Okay, so right here is where we were seeing. There's the observatory. We're looking left, so they're right here. Now let's look on the other side. What is here? Right here, this canyon here. That must be the energy source right there, that canyon there, because they're coming in again bright. So this is July, right? There's the observatory lights. So they've moved, right? May, they're over here. Now July, they're over here now. At 1 o'clock, this is July. They're coming around this area, they're getting bright, and then they Exactly, right. Okay, so where are they? So they're over here now. And then on the back side, they're right here. This canyon here. This is August, and there's the antenna lights. We're all familiar with that, the radio antenna lights. So they're right over this area here now, in August at 2 o'clock in the morning. So with different months come different times and different areas. They're moving. Getting bright over that area and then slowly dimming off. Where are they now? So the antenna lights right here. It's looking towards Mount Lemmon from Tucson. And on the back side, right here. Right in this area here. Could be this canyon here, could be that canyon right here. Right in that area. Okay, so the September side, what I like to call, because we've been watching the lights ever since May. Go ahead and pan over there and show. We've been seeing the lights ever since May on the west side. Well, this is the Catalina foothills, but the lights are actually behind the foothills. And so we're going to try to be here tonight, and those lights should be right here. So we're going to get a very good vantage point on to see them, and very good vantage point on to see them. And boy, I tell you what, we're going to have a very good advantage to see them here. So it should be great. And there they are at 3 o'clock. There's the mountain there. So we've been following them all summer. We've been tracking them. And then, you know, they were there every night, but, you know, the monsoon and clouds, oh my God, I couldn't believe that, you know, if you guys been noticing watching the news last summer that there was a cloud hanging over Mount Lemmon for like 3 days, wouldn't go away. I'm like, dude, you need to move, right? You're doing something, you can't be there, okay? I can't see it if your cloud is there. So, between the monsoon and the weather and the clouds, I did the best I could at getting out there and filming them. So on clear nights, boy, I was there, you know? And they were there every night. And like I said, it's better to see them with a night vision camera. Okay, so where are they? Over here, right in this area here. Let's turn around. So right in this area. So we're pretty much standing here. We're right here, and we're seeing the lights right around in this area here. Now we go from September all the way to October, and now we're over here. There's the Santa Rita. And there they are. This is October. So we followed them all the way. And they kept going. At first I thought maybe they're going to do a complete circle around Tucson. And I forget the name of the mountain. What was the name of the mountain? On the west side?
Rincon.
The Rincon, that's right. Correct.
On
Yes.
the west side is Tucson, on the east side is where...
So, I was thinking, yeah, that they were going to continue to go to the Rincon Mountains, so I was expecting that. No, they kept going. They kept going east. So they bypassed the Rincon and just kept going east. And then by, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock in the morning, we would have to drive way out there to see them. So I kind of stopped the research, then, because they were just getting too far out of my way there. But it was great. It was great watching them. It was great chasing them. And this is the footage that I got. Because, let's hope that they come back next summer. So this is what to look for. So with the naked eye, you'll just see like little lights. Sometimes they're red, orange, amber. Sometimes they're white. They're there for just a second, and then disappear from the naked eye. But when you use a night vision camera, boy, you can really see them a lot clearer. Look how they're getting, look at that, look at that energy he's absorbing there. Huge, big lights, man. And they're coming in at 3 o'clock in the morning when everyone's sleeping. So basically what's going on is they're following the sun, okay? So they're following the fault line energy here. So at May, they're here, and then July here, and then October here. Right, so we track them as the sun moved, right? And we move it, the sun is moving. And we track them over all these fault lines here. All these energy sources. May, June, July, August, September, all the way to October. It was a great summer.
Did anybody harass you or make you move?
So we did end up going, when we were out there in October, we went to that ranch out there, and so we asked the manager, hey, would it be okay if we sit in the parking lot at 3 o'clock in the morning, because we're filming these lights, and I showed her video of what was going on. It's like, oh yeah, sure, everything was cool. So, yeah, we got permission to be out there, just to be on the safe side. So, but I have run into that before, yes, that's a very good question. Because, in Phoenix, I was filming the lights, I was at Mesa Community College, and I was up on the top of the bleachers, so I was up there. And so while the football game was going on with the college students, my camera was pointed over here, and so we had the police called on us a few times. They ambushed us. Yeah, I've had the cops called on me a few times because I'm studying what's going on in the mountains. And thank God I got my phone, and look at these lights, look at this, so by the time they're leaving, they're like, dude, did you see those lights? That's incredible. They left me alone, So as long as they know I'm not a terrorist or flaunting something, and, I'm out here doing my investigations on lights, on UFOs, everything was cool. That's a great question. I've had that happen many times, yeah. So, petroglyphs. If I understand the holocrons, and which I think I do, I've been studying them, I've been hiking the mountains and understanding the way they think and everything, there has to be petroglyphs here, spirals, and also tombs. Because that's what was going on in South Mountain. I was finding a lot of tombs out there on South Mountain that clearly you could tell that there was something buried there. So, and this is the way the holocrons bury their dead. They're special there, like kings and special people in crevices to where their gods would be at. So yeah, I'm pretty sure if we go out there's got to be glyphs out there's got to be more orbs, spirals, and there's probably some type of cemetery or some type of tomb out there. There has to be. Alright, so this is the backside. This is the closest I could get. So this is May. Look how big these canyons are. So, when I was looking at Google Earth, I was thinking, wow, so I'm thinking South Mountain, these little canyons, man, these suckers are huge, dude. They're huge. Look at that. This is May Canyon here. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, they're massive. And guess what I found out there? A power plant.
That's out there.
They're drawing energy off the mountain. But so are these Apulianos. So are these light beams. Going in the mountain. All right, so this is crazy. So I've been talking about how we're going into these stones. We're actually going to see it. So over here on Sabino Canyon, I don't know if you guys have hiked on Sabino Canyon. I'm sure you recognize this hill here. We were out there, I believe, last year. Here's a better look. And so I want you to concentrate on this here. So this isn't a trail. This isn't any kind of road. This is like a mountain vein, okay? And so there's no way anybody could be up on there or they'd fall off. And so one night we're up there and I see this light. So I jump on the night vision camera and lo and behold we see this. And this thing is moving along the mountain vein. And so if this is a car, if this is a bicycle, anything like that, it wouldn't disappear. But yet we watch it and it starts to slowly disappear into the mountain. Where should it go? See that? Well, look at this here. See that? Look, gone. See that there? There's the doorway. There's the doorway right there. So let's see what it looks like in the day. So right here, he's moving along here and he went into that doorway of the stone. Crazy, isn't it? That was on Sabino Canyon. That's that hill out there. So the Northern Light connections. So when the aurora lights were here back in May, the only way we could see them was with a camera. Now I've never seen as much activity over there, like as much as it started when the Northern Lights are there. Like we'd see an orb come from the mountain. We filmed this in 2023. We'd see one leaving the mountain. We would still see one going over the apartment complex and then going down behind the mountain there. But nothing to the extent of what we were seeing in the beginning of May. And so when we realized that the Northern Lights was being able to be seen here in Tucson, the only way to see them was to take photographs. So while my wife is out there taking photographs of the Northern Lights, we see it here, I was noticing that there was like kind of lights in the photographs. And then every once in a while I'd see flashes of lights above the mountain. There's the aurora lights there. This is Mount Lemmon here. You can really see the aurora lights there. And then I was seeing like these lights, man. Like, what the heck is that? So that's when I jumped on the night vision camera. And this is when it all started, was with the aurora lights. And so this is what was going on while the Northern Lights was going on, was happening. These light orbs was in the Northern Lights. Yeah. So to get a better idea on what's actually happening here, I brought in a science guy to explain it a little bit better, because he can talk about it a little bit more better about what's going on. Now, remember in the beginning I said you guys are 20 years ahead of all these other researchers. You're going to actually find out what is really going on here. Right? What attracts these light orbs to this mountain? Mr. Science Guy, can you please explain to the audience why these light orbs was attracted to the mountain during the Northern Lights?
In the center of the Earth, you will find hot, molten iron just roiling around under tremendous gravitational pressure. And this roiling effect of the molten iron creates magnetic fields that shoot out from the center of Earth through the crust and into the space around the planet. That forms what's called the magnetosphere, and it's a good thing we have it, because we're constantly being bombarded by charged particles from the sun. The sun is so hot that it exists in a fourth state of matter. There's gas, liquid, solid, and then plasma. And in plasma, ions, which are positively charged atoms, and electrons just float freely around one another. And these particles have such a high energy charge that they can escape the massive gravitational field of the sun and barrel toward Earth at like something around 1,000,000 miles an hour, like a shotgun blast full of solar hate. That's called the solar wind. When these particles encounter our magnetosphere, most of them just kind of bounce harmlessly off. The Earth is saved. But some of them manage to get through. When the electrons that make it through our magnetosphere and into our atmosphere encounter oxygen and nitrogen, the electrons transfer energy to these atoms and excite them. And to calm back down, the oxygen and the nitrogen have to shoot off some of this energy, which they do in the form of tiny packets of light called photons. Beautiful, beautiful photons. Depending on where in the atmosphere the electrons interact with the oxygen or the nitrogen, different colors will be produced. Like for example, oxygen up to about 150 miles will produce a nice yellow-green color when electrons bombard it. Above that, it emits a nice red color. And then nitrogen, up to about 60 miles into the atmosphere, puts out a really beautiful blue. And all these colors can mix together, forming beautiful glowing pinks and purples and whites. It's like Miami Beach up there. So this interplay is most vibrant during solar storms, which depend somewhat on the solar cycle. And it's always going on. But the thing is, you can't see the northern lights during the day because they tend to be outshined by the sun.
So what was going on is the ions and the electrons combined with the fault lines, and there's a lot of energy there. So this is the reason why these lights were coming into this one area, getting real bright. They're sucking up the ions. They're sucking up the electrons. You know, they're using that energy there, man. They're absorbing that energy. So, and the sun. So the sun's moving, like January, February, March, April, May. The sun is moving. So it's creating these ions and electrons in combination with these fault lines, right? And it's aligning with these energy sources throughout the months with all these electrons in the air, and that's what is attracting these light orbs to this area. This has never been talked about ever in ufology. You guys are 20 years ahead of everyone, right? You want to know what's going on? This is what's going on. I believe there's so much evidence in this. The ions, the electrons, the fault lines, man, it's like an intergalactic gas station that was going on. It like amplified that mountain, like a car battery. You know, like you're jumping a car battery. Now look at this. So you have the electrons, the ions, and the fault line, right? There's a fault line canyon with the energy coming out of the fault lines. There's the vortex. Waves of energy. Now, isn't this interesting? Look at the spiral effect.
Yeah.
Same
Hour and a
kind of
half.
spirals we see representing doorways from the Hohokam Indians. So in conclusion, these things have a history. These things have always been here. It's interesting because now, like when we read some of these ancient scrolls and stuff, it tells us that some stayed and some left, right? And we just now, I don't know if you've been following the news, there's a new satellite that just discovered a new planet orbiting around this tiny little sun, and it's got lights on it, okay? And this planet, they're saying this planet has a seasons change. It's changing seasons. It's bigger than the Earth, it's got a smaller sun, but yet the telescope is filming lights there. So I believe that some of the lights have moved on to that planet over there, and a lot of them are still here. We have different kinds of entities here. We have the light orbs, we have the jellyfish, we have black orbs, we have all these different things that are actually here. Like I said in the beginning, it's like the same race but different types of beings, if you will. And this is just the beginning. If things don't change in the world, then we're going to start seeing a whole lot more. I mean, look at the way the world is now. The world's getting kind of crazy here. There's threats of nuclear war and all this other devastation that's going on. And it's my opinion, studying these things for years, you know, I went down this path when I first started this, thinking the same thing, aliens, technology, here to help us. And that's the journey I was on. But then, as the years progressed, and more I dug into it, it's leading me down this other road, right? Saying, oh my gosh, you know, this isn't what we've been told all these years. This is something different. This has a history. This has a credible history from the Native Americans who talk about these things. Some of them talk about it, some of them don't. This is like a type of taboo. I've talked to a lot of Native Americans over the years, and some of them they will tell you, and some of them they look at, you know, the guy that taught me the glyphs up here, I didn't tell him what I was doing until after we get down off the mountain. I said, hey, are you familiar with the Phoenix lights? He goes, yeah. He goes, there was somebody filming the lights last year on the news. I said, yeah, that was me. He goes, that was you? I said, yeah. I said, I have this theory that the petroglyphs here have something to do with what we're seeing in the skies today. Oh, looked at me. That was it. He did not want to talk to me no more. He won't go on the mountain with me no more. That blew that, but at least I got the information first before he shut me down. You know, so I got him on film and this and that. After he found out what I was doing, didn't want to talk to me. Because why? Look at the history. So we talked about the history of the first half. Is mankind needed these things to survive, and it ended up their downfall. They were missing. Well, we won't go into that. My book talks about a lot of this. And I believe that the government will never come clean about what's going on. They know what's up. They're watching. And they're gonna mislead us and stuff. First it was flares, then it's balloons, right? And now it's drones.
What's your opinion
On the drones?
yeah, going on?
So the news is showing drones, okay? But we just saw some videos from Karen's website on the Facebook channel of these same light orbs, right? Over there in New Jersey. The exact same thing on your Facebook page. Of these light orbs. So I believe it's a cover-up story now. So the light orbs have moved, right? They're over there in New Jersey, right? So now they passed Tucson and now they're going around the earth. They're going around in a circle. Now they're over there in New Jersey and there's major fault lines over there, right? So there's lights. So when people see these lights and say, oh, it's got to be a drone because it's all over the news, right? So that's the cover-up story now. So they're showing drones and somebody's purposely lighting these drones up, you know, flying these drones. I think if the news would stop talking about drones, these drones would go away. But because the news is so heavy on these drones, then whoever's flying them is going to keep flying them. So we need to stop talking about them, right? Because I'm sick of hearing about it. Every time we turn on the news, there's a drone. Well, who cares? Let's talk about what's really going on. Yes.
I have a question. Okay, when you first started talking, we talked about the lizard man. Now, the agenda, is that connected to an orb?
So that's like a type of anthropomorph. They're changing shape.
Is it orb someday getting energy, then it's a lizard man, another day eating a yummy human?
So, yeah, so these orbs are morphing. They're mimicking people, they're mimicking animals, they're mimicking snakes and deer.
To feed?
Well, no, because they're feeding off the energy here. So they don't need human blood or anything like that. They want humans to worship them as gods like it was before. So if they came down now and transformed into a human and said, hey, you know, this is, you know, I'm here, it would be great news for like a couple of weeks, but then people would go back to their daily business. But, so it's cool, you're cool, but I have to go to work. So if there's no work, no food, no anything like that, and one comes down and anthropomorphs into a human like the rock art is telling us and says, hey, look what I can do for you. I can clean up the air, I can clean up the water, I can give you food. I'm the one that you've been looking for the past 3,000 years. Here I am, worshiping you. But here are my angels.
But then the whole thing disappears.
Yes, right. So not to bring in religion, because I don't believe in religion. I believe if we look at that book as a type of history book for the world, it tells us in 1 Thessalonians, it says we will be caught up into the sky. That is what there's rapture is. There it doesn't say rapture in the book, but it says we will be caught up into the sky. Well, that's what happened to the Holocaust. They were caught up into the sky. This is what the Petroglyphs showed. Yeah. It wasn't their fault. You know, they didn't understand what these beings were. You know, they thought, hey, these are gods. You know, just like with the Egyptians.
One more thing, and then that's it. In Siberia, in the 30s, the whole group of scientists and everything were taken by aliens and then taken back to their laboratories. The scientists, when they were picked up, they were in so much shock. And very few of them lived after that very long. Now, what do you think that?
I think there's stories in Ezekiel when it talks about him being picked up also and being able to see the world, and then he was set down 3 days later at a tree and he couldn't talk. You know, he was so devastated at what was going on. So that's very possible. So yeah, in my opinion, I mean, I think these things are biblical. There's so much evidence to this. Like, we can read about this stuff in some of these ancient scrolls, and then now we can see the prehistoric photographs of what they're talking about. And then the third credibility is now we've seen them for ourselves in the sky for our own selves. That is where the credibility lies, is what the ancestors are telling us, what the prehistoric photographs are telling us, and what we are witnessing firsthand.
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Besides the energy that they're obviously needing and wanting and getting, do they want anything from us humans besides that? Or do they just want us to leave them alone and let us carry on without blowing the place up?
So you're getting deep here. We're going deep. We're deep now. We're in it. So, in my opinion, with all these ancient scrolls and writings and petroglyphs, so it tells us that they rebelled from the Creator, and they were thrown down here, and this is their home. Some managed to escape, some were here. This is what we're talking about, the Nephilim.
Well, I agree with you. I've studied it myself.
And so they are jealous of mankind.
Yes.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
And so they want to enslave mankind. They want mankind to worship them. They want mankind not to look at the great Creator anymore, but look at them. Look what I can do for you. This is what I can fly, blah, blah, blah. I can do all this stuff for you. I'm the one, not that guy. He's nobody. I'm the one. Right?
Humans are caught up in this great thing that they have no idea what's going on to them. And they are so like, well, we really are blinded, but we don't really know, and no one will tell us. Mm-hmm. And yet there's a few people who can see it. Mm-hmm. Now, what about that?
I think that this information has been covered up and buried for too many years, and at least, for over 100 years. And they stopped talking about it. And it was covered up, just like, Charles Holbrook knew about the tombs up there. He knew about the Holocaunt people and all this stuff. And then after he died, they buried all his information in the public library. He doesn't talk about it no more. I had to uncover it after 80 years and bring this information back out. And there's where the evidence is, with the Holocaust and everything else. You didn't read this in our books. The archaeologist isn't telling us this. The archaeologist wants us to believe, well, it's simply peace-loving people making pots and they just migrated somewhere else. There's no evidence of where they went. But Charles Holbrook writes from the Indians, says that the sacrificing stopped. When the sacrificing stopped, see, back in the day, it wasn't all dried up. It wasn't a dried up land like it is now. It was a tropical-like landscape. Yes. And we find evidence of this from the weathering of water and waterfalls down these mountains, that it wasn't a desert, right? Until the sacrificing stopped. And once that happened, the light orbs stopped showing up, everything started to die out, and their ancestors, the people are yelling at their leaders saying, why did you stop the sacrifice? The gods are angry with us. We have no food, we have no water, everything is dying. Why did you stop the sacrifice? And then all of a sudden, they say from the devil came from the east, came down and picked these people up. And this is what the petroglyphs show. The petroglyphs show on South Mountain of these orbs and these quetzalcoatl flying serpents and other things coming down and using that tail that we just saw of the lizard men picking people up by their heads, carrying them off into the sky. Now, there were survivors to this. They saw what was going on and they were afraid and they ran in the caves. And when it was all over with, they vowed never to live in Phoenix again. This was a cursed valley. Whoever was going to continue to live in this valley was going to have to once again go back to war with these spirits of the earth and the sky. So they buried all their gold. They buried everything in South Mountain. This is why South Mountain is a government park today, because yes, there is stuff buried there that they don't want you digging up. When they buried that, they said, never, we're not going to live here no more. So they went back to the homeland, they went back to Mexico. They were tribes on the outskirts of Phoenix, outskirts of the valley, and they saw the lights, but they were afraid because they knew what their ancestors were when they dealt with those lights. That's what happened, is they ended up getting taken away. So they were afraid, and no one lived in that valley for 400 years. That's when Jack Swelling came over the White Tank Mountains during the 1800s and looked at the farmland of what the Holcomb left, because everything was left there for 400 years. You know, and the pots were still there, the canals, the hold-ons, everything was there. And he's like, wow, what a great place to start the city, to start, farming. That's how Phoenix started to grow. Actually, it started in Mesa, and then it grew. And that's what Phoenix is all about. It's the fiery bird that rose out from the ashes of the fire, from the former civilization. Well, what about this former civilization, But it's written like sacred scrolls all over that valley of the story of what happened to these people. This is the biggest cover-up of all time, in my opinion, of the world. That these things are real, these things are here, they're not here to help us. The Native Americans who talk about these things and don't blow smoke up your butt and actually tell you what's going on, they tell you, look, we are not meant to know about these things. We are supposed to leave these things alone. This is a taboo.
The daytime sighting of the Orb, do you know when that was?
So I think it was in September.
I got it April 2nd, the same thing.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So, when I was studying the South Mountain, January, February, March, April, and May, that was a hot time. That's when a lot of these day sightings was going on. And then after the equinox, after the solstice, they would change and then they would come back. There's my book, and also I'm on Amazon to search my name. There's so much more to that book. The ebook, it's only like $3 on the ebook. That goes into much more of all my photographs and investigations and everything. It took me like 15 years to put this book together. So this just isn't a rush job. This is a lot of details and a lot of hiking and a lot of photographs.
I mean, you're in the
sky. Thank you so much for
mention the fact that when we were on South Mountain, I found a seashell up there. Yeah, I'm like, why is there a seashell up here on the mountain? But yeah, it was a seashell. Yeah, I was tripping out.